Good morning. My name is Bill Garson, and I am the director of Earth's Crust Pizza Company, a company that specializes in bringing the world's flavors to consumers in a convenient and healthful way. In our worldview, the Earth is still flat. A little bit about us. Well, let me introduce my teammates first. On my left, I have, or do you like to do?
I'm Ariana McKixty, and I was the sensory specialist.
Me, I was Gemma McCollum, and I was marketing and packaging.
I'm Jasmine Williams, and I was microbiology.
Hello, I'm Bimal Nipani. I was the process plant manager.
And just to give you all a little bit of an introduction, our objective was to formulate a high quality product and assess its nutritional components and hypothesize how it could be processed in an industrial setting, and to get a feel of the consumer's preference for our product. And the reason we chose pizza was that we think that pizza oftentimes gets a bad rap. People look at it as an unhealthy fast food, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. In fact, it ranks highly in the American diet as a source for calcium, protein, and fiber. And ethnic fusion and authentic ethnic cuisines are reported as one of the primary flavors for 2015, according to IFT. So that really fits into our company goal to bring those world flavors out. The fact that our pizza is vegetarian does not necessarily mean that it's only for vegetarians. In fact, 17% of consumers in America try to at least incorporate partial vegetarian items into their diets. I want to talk to you all about a little bit about how we formulated our crust and how we arrived at the nutrition label. So one of the problems with the naan bread is that, which naan bread is a traditional Indian flatbread, is that it tends to have a chewy texture, which is not always desirable for pizzas. So in order to overcome that problem, we decided to introduce some hydrocolloids to our crust, and that way it combated the starch retrogradation that takes place in every baking, or every bread I should say, and we got a softer texture, and we were able to retain a little bit more water. Now, as far as the nutrition facts, we arrived at that in two ways. First of all, we did our approximate analysis following AOAC standard methods. And then for the components that we could not test for, we got that from the USDA nutrient database. Total carbohydrates was done by the difference method as per USDA requirement. And we were actually surprised to find out that our pizza turned out to be relatively high in protein and low in fat. And I'm going to give the word over to Bimal. He's going to walk you all through the process flow chart.
Yeah, I'll be talking about the process flow, how our pizza was made. And you can see there are dry storage and refrigerator sections. On the dry storage, we had our ingredients like wheat flour, salt, yeast. And on the refrigerator, we have our different vegetables like potatoes, tomatoes, and chickpeas. Going through the dry storage, this process, some of them are done manually by the workers and some are automated. So from the dry storage, the workers in our company will put the flour to the mixer. From there, they'll take it to the dough rounder and divider. From the dough rounder and divider, it will go. The ingredient will go to the proofer. From the proofer, we'll let the dough to proof, and it will go to the dough roller, where we will get the size of our pizza, like how big our crust would be. So from there, it will go to the oven. We'll preheat our crust. So from the oven, using our conveyor belts, and the crust will go to the assembly line. And on assembly line, here comes out our refrigerator parts. First, we will wash our ingredients, and like the ingredients like potatoes, they will go to the slicer. They will chop into the sizes we want, and they'll go to the roaster. From the roaster, we will have the automated dispenser, which are automatically functioning to put the exact amount of toppings, how much we like on each pizza. So each batch will have the same amount of each ingredients. And same way, this is our on the kettle we are making our pizza sauce using our tomatoes, and it will dispense the pizza sauce to the assembly line too. And this is for the cheese. We grate it, and the cheese will fall on top of our ingredients on the assembly line. Using a conveyor belt through the assembly line, we'll send our product to the packaging area. From the packaging area, it will go to the freezer and to the resellers. And I'll talk a little bit about the CCPs. Being a pizza, we are like doing a lot of thermal processing, and there was no chance of growing any bacteria during this flow chart. But on the cheese section, we are directly getting our cheese from grater to the assembly line. So in some case of temperature abuse, there might be a growth of bacteria. So here we thought to check the CCP, like growth of bacteria over here. And the another CCP we kept after packaging to see any like metal fragments in our products. So we set up a X-ray machine that will detect any defects on any of the products, and it will cancel out from the processing, the packaging line.
For us, it's shelf life. We test for 6 days. Before testing, we took the pizza out the freezer. We then cook it, and then we cut into small pieces and stomached it to the stomacher. And for those 6 days, we test to see was there going to be any pathogenic microorganism growth, and we did not have any. And also we used the standard plate count as well to test for that, but we did not have any pathogenic microbial growth throughout those 6 days that we test. And for each six days that we test, we were pulling 3 samples from those days that we tested.
Okay, for our sensory, ideally you will want to have about 50 people. We had 42, and we used a 5-point hedonic scale. We used the 5-point hedonic scale basically to cut down on the options that they had and to cut down on the confusion that it would cause for people to be able to choose how much they like the product. And we asked demographic questions such as gender, age, and ethnicity. We also asked, how often did they buy pizza products? Were they vegetarian, and how often did they buy vegetarian products? And I think we only had one person who was vegetarian. So over half of our participants were female, over half were between the age of 21 and 40, and over half were African American. And we gave each panelist 2 samples, a reference which was a store-bought crust similar to the Nan crust, and it had tomatoes and spinach on it. And our actual sample, which was labeled 282, was our pizza, our spicy naan bread pizza. And the attributes that we were looking to test for was the overall appearance, the crust color, the thickness, toppings, spiciness, overall flavor, overall texture, overall impression, and for our actual product, the price range that they would pay. These are the averages of the responses of our sensory. And for our reference pizza, at 4, this is on a scale of 5, 4.05, they like our crust color. And at a 4, they like the toppings, and a 3.98, they like the overall appearance of the pizza. And for our sample, at 3.88, they like the crust color. At 3.71, they like the spiciness of the pizza. and 3.69 they like the toppings. Some feedback that we got back from our sensory was, first of all, we had an aftertaste to our pizza, and then some people wanted more spice while other people wanted less spice. And they also wanted to make the chickpeas more coherent with the pizza, to make it look like it actually belonged with the pizza instead of just being dropped on a pizza like they don't supposed to be there. Overall, from these averages, we can tell that the consumers liked our pizza. They didn't dislike, they weren't in between, they just liked it. So if they were to buy it and to try it, they would most likely like it. Now, based for price, based upon this representation right here, we asked for two of these, the measurements would be roughly 12 by 6. We gave them a price range of the lower end being $4 and the high end being $10, based upon class project that we did. How much would they be willing to pay? And the average for that was $6.12. So that was all that we got from our center.
Okay, so aside from the sensory, we conducted a survey of 100 consumers, and we got from the survey that mostly young women on the West Coast would be more likely to purchase our product. And with the health trends, the new trends in the food industry being like healthy and high in protein, we figure that we have a market for our product because it is high in protein and low in fat. So we figured that we could compete with the other pizzas. And as far as packaging, our pH was relatively high. Our pH was low and our water activity was high. So through research, we found that a micro-layered shrink film would best fit our product. And this is kind of an ideal package, so it's like a pretend shrink wrap if you look at it. And so if we were to use the shrink wrap in like a mass market situation, the shrink film is cost effective.
So just in conclusion, really the two takeaway points from all of this is, first of all, the results from sensory indicate that there is a little difference between the preference of our pizza versus the control. We see that as a positive because the control was a very traditional bland pizza, and our pizza was very exotic, if you will. And the fact that people were not leaning more towards the control, or one way or the other, gives us hope that people would be accepting of our product. The other thing is, surprisingly, approximate analysis revealed a relatively high amount of protein level and low fat, which I think is definitely a good point for selling, a good selling point, I should say.
All right, so I'm gonna get a picture here.
Another thing that's important is like when you because they